mystery and horror, the air itself is filled with monsters.
Children of the night, what music they make.
He's alive! He's alive!
Well, hello. I am Dan, and this is Monsters Up North. The only thing I've got to say about today is don't be a dick. Thank you. Now we've got the formalities out the way. I want to say, as usual, I am here with my trusty emotional support audiovisual tit, Chris. You can't see or hear him, but he is here. And we are joined by the ever-present Dungeon Master, Juggalo, Warhammer enthusiast, and Captain Spaulding Aficionado. Jeez, you can tell I had a late one last night. Mr. Mike Kell. Woo!
Hello.
Hi, Mike. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Feigning in regret from watching Scream 7 last night, but apart from that, I'm alive. I'm here. I'm all right. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I can't say anything because I haven't seen it. I'm not looking forward to it though.
It is what it is. So, yeah, that was fun. We are going to be covering a movie today, which I'm sure you can tell by the lovely artwork Chris has produced
it's a
for us.
film.
It's a film, or as you guys say, film.
Film.
And it is 1989, which is a cracking year for a lot of these kind of really obscure, weird cult status movies.
Mhm.
Society. Now, there's a couple of things. The taglines, when I was looking at the taglines for this movie, there's about 10 different ones, but they missed a trick. Here's two of my favorites. You are what they eat,
I like that.
and it's all about fitting in.
Oh, that's class. I like the last one. The first one's a bit on the nose,
Yeah.
but the second one, that is chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. I can't believe I said that either. Yes, very much so.
But the one that I felt they really missed a trick with was, that they constantly say it up until sort of the middle. It's when they keep saying, "Oh, you'll make a fabulous contribution to society."
I don't know why that wasn't.
It seems like that was going to be a really obvious choice, but maybe at the time it was too obvious. I don't know. Well, it wasn't going to be "Can I piss in your tea?" or whatever that other quote was.
That line. I'd actually forgotten about that. And it's so jarring when it happens because it comes from nowhere.
I remember hearing it when I rewatched it a couple of days ago. It made me laugh, and I was like, "Did I just hear that right?" And I forgot like you say, forgot all about that line. And then Chris sent it to me again today, and I was just like, "I've forgotten again about that line until then." And
It's funny when I was doing when I was looking at stuff, the research for this. That line is one of the most quoted and re-shown videos of the entire film. Like literally, they'll all talk about the end, but that line I would say is more mentioned in every video about society than the end.
I think it's so unexpected, though, isn't it? It's like you can't really explain this movie in the respect of the tone of it. You can't really translate the tone of this film because
No, it is left field beyond left field.
it really is.
Yeah, and I do. Even at the beginning, though, it doesn't really have any setup. It just goes straight into it.
Yeah, you feel very, very uncomfortable.
Like from the very beginning, there's no background. You're just thrown into this family, and it's very weird.
It really is.
The dynamic between the family is uncomfortable to watch.
Before we get too into it, I've been doing this little thing just to get people to know you a bit better. So I'm going to do the rapid fire questions with you. Just say the first thing that comes into your mind. There's kind of multiple choicey, but I know you've listened to some of the others, so you might have a rough idea of what you're looking at. Are you ready?
Let's go.
Pepsi or Coke?
Cool.
Kookaburra or chlamydia-riddled koala bears?
Capybara.
Nick Cage in The Wicker Man or Willy's Wonderland?
Willy's Wonderland, hands down,
Staying in or going out?
staying in.
Do you believe in ghosts?
I'm a open-minded skeptic.
Autumn or spring?
Autumn.
Can you rap?
No, but I have been in Hip Hop Connection.
There's a caveat there. Yeah. Light speed or super strength?
Super strength.
If you could, would you travel to the past or future?
Oh, future. And the only reason I say that, I would normally have said the past, but no, healthcare, future.
What song is your alarm or ringtone?
Oh, I've just got the standard iPhone horrific alarm that's in every film known to man. There's,
Oddly, so is Kim from last week, so you're not the only
yeah,
one there.
it used to be Chicken Squawk by MDC, but I really like that song. And if I have it as my alarm, it puts me off.
Yeah.
So it used to be Chicken Squawk by MDC, which is an American hardcore band.
Mine, I had Fleetwood Mac for a very, very long time. I think it was "Can you hear me calling out your name?" And then I started to hate the song, and I was just like, I can't do that anymore.
Yeah, that's why I went to a standard alarm.
Yeah, it was the diddly waking me up in the morning gently. It's very pretty.
Oh,
But then I wanted to.
I like loud and obnoxious. It's the only thing that gets us out of bed.
What cryptoid is your favourite?
Which,
Cryptoid.
oh, Wendigo.
Oh, nice. Coffee or tea?
Good coffee or nice tea. Depends. If it's good coffee, I like coffee, but I like a nice tea as well. Depends on the time of day.
Was
Coffee
the
on the
moon?
morning, tea on the night.
Oh, fair. Yeah, no, that's fair. Was the moon landing real or fake?
Absolutely real. 100% real. It was
If
it
go
was
on.
confirmed by Russia, who had no reason to confirm that there was a flag on the moon. And they've confirmed it. It is absolutely real.
I've got a controversial one for you now. I know we
Okay.
sort of touched on it earlier, but Thousand Corpses or Devil's Rejects?
1,000 Corpses. Best start of any film. I put it up there with the best introduction of any character. First 20 minutes of the House of 1,000 Corpses.
If you were famous, what would it be for?
Whoa. Infamous, more than likely. They'd find something buried somewhere, more than likely.
Are we talking DB kind of, what was his name? DB, oh god, the guy who had all the money that disappeared out.
DB Cooper.
That's it. Are we talking DB Cooper kind or like serial killer, friendly
Oh,
neighborhood
definitely.
serial
It
killer?
would be Ed Gein kind.
Oh, well, your apprentice lives in my house, so
Yeah.
but everybody
It
is
would
the
definitely
obvious
be that.
choice.
I mean, people are shocked that I'm not, so
I've always said if I go missing, just look in my fridge, look in
yeah.
the freezer, because I can guarantee you that's where I am.
I'd have a nice patio built.
Yeah, if the decking gets ripped up, I'm sure people will start asking questions
I don't do DIY. I think that's the reason.
because people, yeah,
I cannot build anything myself. Otherwise, people might be in danger. So everyone's safe while I can't do DIY.
the red flags are well and truly down until the day you see Mike doing DIY, and then it's like, where's Curry?
Yeah, I think I'd be the one doomed there. He'd be looking
That's
for
actually true. Yeah, yeah. She'd go full misery on you. That would Annie
absolutely,
Wilkes would she'd channel the Annie Wilkes for sure.
absolutely. She's too handy with that hammer.
She knows what she's doing. If you ever see, as some of you might know or might not know, Mike's lovely wife, Curry, or Kerry to us Southerners, she does the best Annie Wilkes I've ever seen. She has got Kathy Bates down to perfection. Literally, the first, like, I've known you guys for a very long time on the con scene.
Yeah,
And I remember the first time I spoke to Kerry, she was in full costume, and I didn't realize she was that
Oh, she goes method.
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't realise she was that method. I was gonna say method, and then I thought, "Oh," but I literally went up to her and I went, "I just think you're absolutely amazing as Annie," and she just kept staring at me, and I was like, "Oh, have I said something wrong?" You know, like, you have that moment where you're like,
Yep.
"Gonna just go over there now." I was just like, "Okie dokie." But yeah, the more I get to know her, the more I understand that that's a
Oh,
thing.
that's so far from what she is.
Yeah, yeah, I know,
It cracks me up. But she can turn it on and off on a flick of the switch as well, which is terrifying. I'm used to it, thankfully, because if I wasn't, it would be scary.
It's that stare. It's just that stare. Definitely, no, it does
Yeah,
feel wrong if you're staring at me like that, yeah.
she's
Um,
1 in a million. She is
she is. You're a lucky man, Mike. Lucky man. Right.
absolutely.
She doesn't hate me because she had to watch this film now, does she? Because I
No,
wasn't
she
sure.
was it intrigued her. I think the phrase is, yeah, because she was reading something on her phone, and there was a couple of scenes where she just was like, "Well, that's not a bit dubious." And then she looked, and I says, "You have to look up for this bit." And she looked up and went, "And that's his sister." I went, "Yeah, that's his sister."
That's very much like the messages Chris was sending me when he was watching it.
Yeah,
Wait, what? What the hell? Is this Epstein Island? What's going on
it is.
here?
Yeah, there's a lot of mm,
Questionable. Um,
very questionable. But is
but
it?
it
Oh,
isn't.
is it? It's because, yeah. Is it? Is it not? Is it?
Well, they lead you on a merry dance with it, I think, with this
Does
film. Very, very clever on the way they're doing that, like, look over here thing. So you're thinking, "Oh, it's all about this incesty situation." Ooh, ooh, but you're not actually thinking about the bigger picture
mm,
because the innuendos they're dropping into the conversations are slap
what
bang in the
levels?
face. They're like, "Look."
They are very much different levels. There's lots of subterfuge going on. But the thing is, when you've watched it, if you go back and watch it again, it's right there in your face from
Yeah,
the very beginning.
yeah.
You just don't know it's in your face from the very beginning.
It is I think I know with this movie, when Brian was shooting it, he was very much of the notion that he wanted to start off with a massive flashback, if I'm right, and that got cut, the idea, because it didn't work, because it didn't set up the character of Billy well
Yeah,
enough.
yeah,
So
I know it went through a few script changes.
yeah,
But and I know when I've been reading up on it, they went for fantasy rather than storyline. So there may even be a few, what's the word, plot holes. He doesn't care. It was all for the special effects. That's what he was playing for.
I was going to say something like, but I had to stop myself about there definitely being holes, but then that's a,
Oh,
that's a later thing in the movie. That is movie related. That is not
very
me
much
just being
so.
a foul human. It is it's later on in the film. So,
Yeah,
but yeah, I
it's
know that the weird thing about this is I never connected, and call me a div because you would think in a million years it's blatantly obvious. Billy Warlock being Dick Warlock's son. I mean,
Do you know what? It was one of them things I didn't realise till I was looking it up. And then,
yeah,
of course, he is.
I mean, for
But
those of you that don't know, Dick Warlock played the Shape in Halloween 2.
yeah, when
And
Billy Warlock was in it.
he's been a stuntman. He's wait, sadly, I think we lost him last year, year before. Dick.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
and I know he was at For the Love of Horror a few years ago.
Hmm.
And he, yeah, I just never like because the surname is so bizarre. It's one of those things that I just thought, oh, okay, because we all know about like if you've ever been near the industry or in the industry, you obviously have to register a stage name
Hmm.
like you do in the UK and over in the US to work under. So my brain was just like, oh, it's just a stage surname, and like didn't really think past the fact that actually no, they're related.
Yeah, it does come from like left field when you realise it's like, oh, and then you start thinking, oh, of course he is. Of course, they've been in films together before.
Yeah, they were in Friday the 13th quite a lot together as well. Like there was a whole bit where I think Billy was like an extra, but he had a few lines here and there.
Mm.
And it was the same one that Dick was doing a lot of the stunt work for Jason in for that one. Um, but yeah, for those of you who don't know Dick Warlock, go and look him up. He's led one hell of a life. I don't know if there's an autobiography. I think there was talks of one, but I don't know if it ever happened.
Don't think I've not seen one.
Yeah, it might there might even be like a TV special or some sort of program that someone would have done now celebrating the life that he had, I imagine. But go out there and look into Dick because he's had absolutely amazing life. But Billy, when you first see him, this is 1989. When you first see him and where you don't really get introduced to the movie, you see him. I think the first scene is him in the office of the psychiatrist, isn't it? That's the sort of
Is it The
in the
Office?
rough
Is it?
beginning.
It's either The Office or it's basketball.
That's it.
No,
Yeah.
it's The Office, and then it's the basketball scene.
Yeah, because the office bit was put in there because obviously they were going to do the flashback and Brian was like, this isn't working, we need something else. So
Mm.
when you see him, you see this typical Marty McFly-ish
He
80s.
looks so young.
Yeah, I mean, at the time, I think he was in his late 20s, almost 30 at this point. Um,
Yeah, he would have been. Yeah,
yeah, I think he was, in saying that might have been 26, 27. Um, and when you see him, he gives off Michael J. Fox. I
yeah,
don't know if
very
that's
much
what
so.
the whole of the generational look was, because that was what was selling with Back to the Future coming out, and obviously Family Ties, and you know it that kind of look sold. So
And
you're
that was
thinking,
before he was in Baywatch as well.
yes, it was. So you're looking at that, thinking to yourself, okay, this is where we're going. You know, oh, this is the hero in air quotes that we're going to get. We're going to get a kind of like Marty McFly-ish kind of type character, because you get the little wife beater vest and the jeans and the high tops, and I don't know.
The short shorts.
Oh,
There's a lot of short shorts in this.
it's a lot of skin in this.
There's a lot of skin. Right. I always remember basketball players having long shorts. So why are basketball shorts in all of the 80s films really short?
Even in Teen Wolf.
Yeah, they were never like that in real life. They were always like down to your knees in basketball. And they were famously basketball shorts always were like board shorts.
Maybe in the
So,
80s they went boxers or briefs to the kids.
yeah,
Just let them choose.
it's
I
it's weird. But
Yeah,
this is Brian Yuzna's first directorial film. It was his
yeah.
directorial debut.
Didn't he go
And
on
he
to do
only got it.
Reanimator 2 after this though?
Yeah, but he was asked to do Reanimator 2, and he was in a 2-film deal, and he said he'd only do Reanimator 2 if he could do Society first.
Yeah, because he wanted to get this one done because he wanted to establish.
He wanted to get his footprint down of what he was like, which is, yeah, that's a choice,
He
a
certainly
bold
did
choice to
something.
make.
Yeah, I mean, to take over from Stuart was a big pair of shoes to stand in, I imagine, because Reanimator, whilst again it wasn't a hit at the time, it still cast a bit of a murmur and a talk about
Mhm.
things because it was so heavily HP Lovecraft kind of inspired at a time when all of those Stuart Gordon movies were sort of poking
Yeah,
up, you know, like was it God I think In the Mouth of Madness. I don't know if that was a Stuart one, but then you've got like
no, that was John
Freak,
Carpenter.
Castle Freak. That was Stuart.
Castle Freak, yes,
Yeah.
but
I always get those 2 cute, like, I don't know why. I don't know why. I think it's just the Jeffrey Combs thing, and
I still haven't watched the remake of Castle Freak yet.
no, I haven't. And I'm saving Castle Freak for a show. It's on the list of things to do because
Oh, I'll tell you what, it's the original, if you get the full version, is a lot more racy than I remember. We
what,
watched it.
class.
Yeah, there's a couple of scenes where you're sitting going, sorry, what? It's unexpectedly racy.
I would say that about this film. But every time you got a racy scene, it made you feel sick.
Yeah,
And I think
yeah.
that is a hell of an achievement to pull off when you've got these absolutely beautiful people prancing around in little to
Uh,
nothing, and yet you don't have any kind of
oh no, there's no. I mean, Rule 34 means there's somebody out there that is, but nobody I know.
and I don't know
No,
if people would openly admit it about this one. I mean, I'm sure, like you say, Rule 34, someone
I
would, some
mean, I guarantee there's a subreddit that has it, but I wouldn't like this. I mean, there's no.
it's you can't even really explain. The minute you see his dynamic with his parents, you know he's in therapy for a reason.
Yes, very
And
much so.
I think you're introduced to his sister and him before the parents. So
Yeah, and even
he's
when you first introduce with them two, it doesn't really explain that that's his sister
no.
at the start. It could be just his girlfriend, possibly, maybe not, but maybe just like close friends with benefits, maybe.
Yeah, because you had the ex-boyfriend strange stalker lad in the
Yeah, who just
wardrobe.
in yeah, and
How the
then
hell he got in there? Right, I'm still confused. How he pulled up, snuck upstairs, right in front of them when they were playing basketball, may I add. So were they completely ignoring the fact that he pulled up in his van and ran into the house? I don't know.
yeah, because that really doesn't make sense because it really does. The van's there, they're playing basketball right next to the van.
Yeah.
Like
It's like
it's his Jeep, then the van. So the van pulled up and he went, oh, there's Blanchard's van.
yeah.
You were just playing basketball next to it. What do you mean, there's his van? Surely you heard it coming up the drive.
Apparently not. They were very engaged in their short shorts and their basketball playing.
Yeah. I mean, from behind, they didn't look like they were wearing shorts, which was really weird.
Yeah. I mean, in this film, I don't think that in the grand scheme matters, but
I found that really uncomfortable. I was like, I don't know what's going on here. Why is him and his mate
well,
doing Winnie the Pooh and playing basketball?
it
But then he
doesn't
turned around
sound
and it's
you.
like, oh, they've got shorts on, we're all right.
Yeah. It was kind of like I don't know whether it was a play on Top Gun, like that whole kind of like maybe homoerotic undertones or at the time, but that's kind of it felt like that might have been it, and then you actually find out actually probably not because the whole film has this kind of baseline
Yeah.
of
It's very, I was going to say inclusive, but I don't think it is.
well, I think it's both exclusionary and inclusionary. It's inclusive.
It's inclusive if you're in that elite, and very
Eh,
exclusive if you're not.
yeah, 100%. This movie is a classist system
Yeah.
put into terms that everybody can understand, I think.
Yeah. I mean, back in when it first came out, I mean, it was released in England in 1989
Yeah.
and it was held back till 1992 for America.
Yeah, they just didn't get it. They couldn't
No,
get anyone to
and it
get it.
came out a critical acclaim in England. The
Yeah.
critics loved it.
But the thing was they only made if I remember rightly, they only made 4 or 5 prints of it for the
Yeah.
UK. So, like, cinemas would have a little run of it here, and then they'd pass it on to the next cinema, and that'd do a little run. So it didn't have a great deal of, exposure in the UK, but what it did, it went down really, really well.
Yeah. And
Um,
then it went crazy when it came out on VHS.
yeah,
That's
that's
when
where
it
it got its, cult status
blew.
from, shall we say?
Yeah. And Brian Usna still feels disappointed that he's happy that it's now a cult film in America.
Yeah.
Film. It's a cult movie in America, but it's not. I don't think it gets anywhere near the applaud that it deserves. It was so far ahead of its time.
I
It's
would say so, yeah.
and it's very relevant to nowadays,
I think that's
relevant to today.
I will always go back to life imitating art, imitating life, imitating art because
Yeah,
it is we don't learn from our mistakes. We watch a film and then recreate the shit that they do in the film. I mean, what was it? Fucking you have Terminator. They're like, don't do Skynet. Oh, hello. Let's just invent AI, shall we? Hello. Let's see how
Yeah.
well that's gonna go, shall we? Yes, I'm a skeptic about
Now,
all that sort of crap because I can guarantee you've got sex robots in people's freaking houses. That's iRobot starting off. If Shia LaBeouf comes running down any road screaming about the robots, and Will Smith starts telling me that Sonny's gonna take over the world, or I'm done. I'm done with all that nonsense. I just want to live in existence. Thank
yeah,
you.
AI is terrifying, and the fact that yeah, there's robots in people's houses now,
Mm-mm.
and they're getting very realistic.
They've openly admitted. I don't know if you saw this. There was an interview, slightly tangenty. I saw an interview the other day where it was. I don't think it was Google, but it was one of the big companies. They had been running a robot itself for X amount of time to run a test, and it had got to its equivalent of middle age, however long that it takes for the robot to get to that point. And it openly admitted that it was done with the human race and wanted to kill someone.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
And it was like, okay, so that's a robot that has learnt billions and trillions of lines of code about what it's like to be human, and that's the conclusion it's come to. So,
Yeah,
and you want them in your house? Okie dokie. Yeah, okie dokie.
I was
Yeah.
going to say the Rumbas are going to take over the world.
Well, at least they're handy, you
Well,
know?
I mean that's the thing; they can do two things at once. They can take over the world and clean it while they're on.
Exactly. And it's a carbon neutral world takeover.
Hmm. But speaking of art, I mean, all of uh, both Brian Usner and Scream Matt George, who did the special effects, took all of their inspiration from Salvador Dali's artwork.
Which you can see if you look hard enough.
Oh, absolutely. Especially the last scene
Yeah.
is very Salvador Dali.
But I don't think if you brought him back to life and sat him in front of that movie and he watched it, he'd be like, "Cheers, thanks, you've really honoured my work." I don't think that that would be
No,
necessary.
then again, no one. I don't know about Dali. He probably would because he's mad. He was always a bit strange.
I mean, the guy had one of the best tashes I've ever seen in my life.
Yes.
That was an impressive tash.
Yeah. If I could sculpt a tash like that, that's the way I'd go. But that takes a lot of work to keep it that
Yeah,
sculpted.
it really does. I mean, the sad thing about this film is when I was trying to look into like the budget and the box office hits and that you got nowhere. All I do know is that there was a budget of 2 million at the time, which is probably around about 10 million by today's money.
Which
Um,
isn't a great deal.
it's not a great deal, but for a first-time director, that's not bad.
No, it's not bad at all. I think that a lot of people had high hopes for Brian Yuzna,
Yeah,
especially in the horror world. He'd already kind of made a name for himself doing other things like in the background.
yeah,
Like I was aware of his name when this came out, so I was aware of who he was,
yeah.
and he was always connected to the weirder side of horror, which I love.
You need it.
So I
You
think
need it to balance
that was
everything
one of
else.
the things. I thought it was always that side of it because he
Yeah.
was always a bit. I mean, he's not writing that himself, to be honest.
I think if it wasn't for people like Brian and Cronenberg and the people who are leaning a bit more towards the bizarre, not just the gross or the gory or that sort of side of it. If it wasn't for people that ex- just are prepared to take it to a totally different place,
Hmm.
then we wouldn't have many masterpieces to look at. I mean, a couple of weeks back we did The Fly. Now,
Hmm.
we were discussing this earlier, weren't we, about just how much special effects shaped we were talking about how what an awesome film that is, but the special effects shaped that film and they were
Yeah,
prepared to take it to not only in the storyline of Seth wanting to have him, the baby, and Gina Davis all become one entity to be together, which uh, but the special effects work of like how you saw the ever changing metamorphosis or whatever you want to call it of Seth, and you
yeah,
can translate that into this because whilst it's quite rudimentary, when we will get there when we start talking about it, the special effects work here is I want to say stomach churning, but it's also fascinating. And
Yes,
there's just like this level of where I can't see any other special effects house taking that on. You needed someone as batshit crazy as Screaming Mad George to go, do you know what? Yeah, I'll do that.
yeah,
That sounds like a
yeah.
challenge.
You're right, absolutely right. There's very few special effects artists could do this, and especially the fact they stayed away from the gore.
Mm.
They wanted as little gore as possible,
Yeah, blood
just
had to be
to
right
make
down.
yeah, to make sure it didn't get in trouble with the MPAA in America.
Yeah, because I don't know if people do know, the reason why Badlands, Predator Badlands had, no blood and it was only synths because they had to keep it to PG-13
Yeah.
for Disney.
Everyone keeps saying it's like it's not violent. It is violent. It's
It's
horrifically violent.
Badlands is a very violent film if you go and watch it, but
Yeah.
because they're robots, it doesn't hit the
But
same, I
I
suppose. I
know a
don't
lot of people saying, well, it's not a Predator film because it's not an 18. I'm like, no, but it's as violent as all of the others. In fact, it's more violent than some of the others.
Well, if you watch it and replace everything with blood, then it makes it a totally different film, and that's what they
It
wanted
would
to do with
never have been
Badlands.
released.
No. So
If that had been replaced with blood, that film would have been cut to pieces.
yeah, and
Absolutely cut to pieces.
that leads me back to the fact that Screaming Mad George actually did work on the original Predator with Arnie,
Hmm. Oh,
which
he's got so many.
fascinated me, the films he's worked on, because I thought he'd, like you said, we were saying, I thought he had a larger career than this. And it's not to downplay what he has done, because he's done Predator. He worked on The Abyss as well with
Mhm.
James Cameron. He worked on, now these last two that I saw, for me, you can see his work. Big Trouble in Little China, million
Absolutely.
percent you can see him in that. And also Nightmare on Elm Street 4.
Yes. Big Trouble in Little China, it becomes really clear when thunder expands.
Yeah.
That is Scream Mad George through and through that. That entire explosion scene when
Yeah.
Jack's on his back and he just gets bigger and bigger and turns into a ball, and then that
'Cause there's
Screaming Mad George through and through that.
Yeah, there's something about the way he designs the people, because he takes them from person to caricature to cartoony, yeah, to like a cartoony place, I suppose is the best way to sort of explain it. Like, it's not real, it's far-fetched,
Yeah.
but but he has a way of, you just go with it because you're just like, oh, that's ridiculous, but I loved it. It's not like,
Yeah.
oh, that's terrible. That
Yeah.
no,
I mean, I think his work's really, it's very, I'd say obvious. I'll tell you, I mean, he directed Guyver as well, the live action film. And
yeah,
even in that, it's got like the transformation scenes where they transforming into monsters. Even that, you can tell it's him. And it's he has a very, like, his DNA is all over his work.
yeah.
I don't think anybody else could do what he does.
I think even if you gave him millions in a budget, you'd still get this.
Yeah,
You'd just
absolutely.
probably get better quality ingredients, but you'd still get this. You'd still get the same design. You'd
Hmm.
still get the same cartoonish designs, I feel like.
And the thing is, it's not taken away from the actors because the actors are still able to act whilst they in all of those prosthetics.
Yeah. And I
And
mean,
it's a lot of
God,
prosthetics.
there was a lot in this. Yeah. I mean, Screaming Man George as well was well known for being in many, many punk bands in New York. And that's where he first started out, if I'm right.
Hmm.
He was in punk bands, and then someone or somehow he got, like, invited along by a friend, or he got invited along by somebody to come see something, and then all of a sudden he was well and truly in love with special effects work. And he
I'd
never
love to meet them.
yeah, he never got rid of his punk roots though, because he's, as far as I
No.
know, he was still in a band not long ago, but I don't know if he's still in one now. But he's a proper, like, punk.
Yeah, I was
I
going to
don't
say he'd be pushing it to be in one. Well, then again, the Stones only stopped touring a couple of years last year, so why not?
Have you seen the Stones a lot? Yeah.
Yeah, I can't say you punk band. Well, still a few knocking about.
You can't always get what you want, in it. Is that what you said? Old Michael Jagger?
Yeah, yeah. Less said about some of them, the better, I think.
Yeah. I'm sure someone's been on a plane somewhere to some island somewhere, but what do I know? You
Well,
do, 'cause
wasn't
you've
Bill
read 'em.
Wyman famously had a really young girlfriend?
Bill Wyman, yeah. I
Yeah.
think she was 14, 15. I mean, we're not talking Jerry Lee Lewis territory. His
No, not quite.
13-year-old cousin, that's a
But
and
no,
I mean, this is all very relevant within this film. Trust me,
well,
like these might be tangent speeches, but it kind of ties into how this
yeah,
film
it's weird how we can bring it back so much of things that have happened in the last few months and lots of files that have been released that are very relevant to this film today.
how much of this would
Weirdly,
they redact though? That's the question.
yeah.
I
Do
mean,
you think, do you think we knew about stuff back in 1989 when this was being made? And this is,
it come out of something. This was born out of something, wasn't it? Let's be honest. Something had to have happened, or there had to be rumors of something going off somewhere
I
that
mean, the original script wasn't the way this went.
no.
The original script was originally something completely different, a cult, rather than
Yeah, it was going to be like a sex cult, wasn't it? That was the whole idea of it,
they were
from what I
going to
remember.
sacrifice
Yeah.
rather than shunt.
Then that's why Brian stepped in. He was like, "No, we can't. We can't do that. If we want to get seen in the cinemas, and we want to get the play, we've got to make sure, like you say, they had to tone everything down so that they could get the ratings they needed to be put
Mm.
out." Whereas over here, like I say, we were discussing it. I want to. It was Mary Whitehouse, wasn't it? I keep
Was
forgetting.
Mary Whitehouse.
Yeah.
She was the big push for the 1984 video nasty BBFC
So
that
she's
we
the one who,
just managed to get out of in the last 10 years.
yeah, she was the one who managed to ban a lot of films. Now, I feel like had this have been released maybe 2 or 3 years earlier, she would have had a placard out at the front of the BBC,
Oh, absolutely.
licking the cameras, telling everybody how disgusting it was because this is just I can safely say I don't think I've seen another film anything like this.
No, it's unique. I would say it was unique.
I mean,
Um,
films do touch on incest kind of subtexts in places like when me and Sammy watched Pig Hill, which we had a screener of
mhm.
last year. It's got subtexts, hence why I called it dirty horror because it does make you feel some which way about some stuff. And incest is always a really strange,
It's a taboo that
yeah.
America doesn't really touch on very often.
Would you
They
think
have
it would?
they have in Home for the X-Files episode.
Yeah, yeah.
They have kind of well, they kind of touch on it in things like The Hills of Eyes, but it's never explicitly mentioned.
But they always show the products of incest.
Yeah, which I find weird because especially in Hills of Eyes, they tend to capture people and then they have incestual babies, and I'm like, no, you're not. That's not right.
Yeah, that wouldn't work.
Yeah,
You're introducing a new gene pool into the current soup.
but it's more prevalent in Japanese and South Korean films,
Well, they are known for their
pushing of boundaries.
I would yeah, we could put it that I was gonna say like they're known for not thinking things that we find maybe controversial or taboo aren't taboo or controversial in their countries.
They're
We're
like
not talked
weird
about
things that
or
are taboo,
yeah,
things that we don't.
yeah. I mean, you can't go in a bathhouse with tattoos, but you can sit and watch hentai. So it's like, uh,
Yeah,
you know,
I mean,
and that
you can go in a bathhouse with certain tattoos if you are connected.
right, yes, yakuza are only
Very
one.
very specific tattoos you can go in with, but not ordinary tattoos.
Yeah, I see. That's the only thing that's ever put me off about going to Japan because being a heavily tattooed person, you have to be covered up, and it's about 1 billion fucking degrees there, and it's as
Yeah,
humid as you might as well be going out and having a shower every time you leave the room. And I'll be like in long sleeves, like
I mean, the thing that
this.
you've got going for you is you're short, so you wouldn't stand above the crowd.
But Mr. 6'2" with tattoos on his face
Oh,
downstairs.
he
Yeah.
would absolutely. He'd be getting. Do you know what? And this is. I can tell you this has happened because my friend went over to Japan and he's 6'2", 6'3". People were taking photographs of him as he walked about because he was tall. No other reason, because he was tall.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but you're not that tall. And he went, oh, I am over there.
He must be like Gulliver's Travels for tall people over there, because like I live my life being looking up,
Hmm.
and that I accept my fate. That I can't, I'm not going to change that, and it is what it is. But I often wonder for tall people when they're in a situation where everybody is small, it must be really bizarre. Like, I know when I have to look down to talk to someone that isn't a child, and this is no shade to them because my mum is small, my sister is small,
Hmm.
you know, we're talking, my sister's 4'11" and my mum's 5 foot, I'm 5'3". So I feel like I tower above those, so it is weird for me when I have to look down at someone instead of look
Yeah.
up. But yeah, I find the ancestral kind of undertones of this, how you're introduced to the family dynamic is you're literally slapped round the face with it because his sister comes down, which you're not sure, like we discussed, wasn't sure it was his sister, and she was all sweaty on her back, and then the dad and mum come in and they were like touching her in a
Yeah.
really inappropriate way, but it wasn't sexually inappropriate, like,
No,
oh,
it was just a little bit uh, over familiarity. They were
yeah.
just leaving the hand on the skin too long,
Yeah, and
but
the caressing of the hand, it was very,
not excessively too long, just enough to throw you off.
yeah, and you're like,
But in in the therapy session that Billy has, he does mention incest
yeah,
in the relationship is like this weird incest relationship, but it's a very throwaway line.
yeah, because he does say, doesn't he, where he says that I don't fit in.
Yeah,
I'm
and he
adopted.
doesn't understand why he doesn't fit in until you see how his parents treat his sister and how they talk to him.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, you can see she's got herself together. You can see she's maybe gearing up to be a socialite, like a proper, it girl. She's going to go through her, I can't think of what they call it, when they have those ceremonies, not what they call it in this film, but they do have like
Oh,
a,
the what they called the Spanish name.
um no, that's not it. I was gonna say quesadilla. What an idiot. You can tell I haven't slept. Yeah, you laugh, Chris, you laugh.
I know what you mean. I just can't remember what it's called. But
Incinera.
yes, but yeah, but she seems. I'm assuming she's 18. Oh, we've lost Dan.
Oh no, I'm just so overtired, it's ridiculous. Yeah, yeah, I think she is because he keeps saying about him being 17.
Yeah,
So I presume because they call it her coming of age or coming out or something like that, isn't it? It's kind
yeah.
of
They
referred
say
to as
she's
that.
gonna. They mentioned coming out a lot.
So I can
So that
only think the undertone of that is coming out of her skin or coming out of herself, or I
as an
don't
adult,
know.
but
Yeah,
in America it's weird because they have like 21's the drinking age,
yeah.
and they aren't they in school till they're 21, or
I think it depends if they go on to do college.
but they're not. They don't leave school at 16 like we used to.
No, 18 is when they leave.
So I'm assuming it's 18 that because she's like leaving, coming out into the adult world, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, you could tell that they were, it felt very much like that elitist mentality, whereas she's left school, now she has to find a husband. That
Hmm.
that was very much felt in that kind of respect that we need to find her a suitor. And when they were talking always about that other guy that was not in the debate team, but was,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
um,
He was funnying.
yeah, there was that whole thing where it was just very much like this is going to be the guy we're setting you up with, but then it was like, but just remember the judge is going to be there, and like it was always like this weird kind of like all else fails, you can have the judge, and you,
Yeah, the judge was a weird flex off the dad. They kept mentioning the judge was going to be there, and I'm like, I don't understand why that would be a thing.
I
Why
think
anybody would
I
be.
did by the end,
Oh yeah, at the end it makes complete sense.
but at this point, I was like, are they pushing for her to be in a relationship with the judge? And I was like, oh, I don't think I like that. I mean, not that I like much at that point from, it was it felt like a narrative that if everything went wrong with Ted or whatever his name was, then, there's the judge there.
Yeah,
Um,
it
and
was weird. The entire, even the conversation felt off, but you didn't know why it felt off.
yeah, it's the way they talked to each other was really strange. It wasn't a dynamic of parent and child. It was very much like,
Swingers?
yeah, yeah, pretty much. Well, I wouldn't even bloody know that, but I'm guessing so. Yeah, I didn't see any pineapple of mine, but
No, I was going to say that was the only thing missing out of this film.
yeah. I mean, to be fair, I think they pretty much. I don't even know if you could declass it all as swinging, though. It's such a weird thing. They they introduce this, don't they, to Billy's girlfriend. Now, can I just ask?
Gone.
I have no idea why Billy's actual girlfriend, before he meets the Playboy girl, is a 40-year-old woman with 3 kids and a mortgage, and she's still in high school, because the casting on her, we're supposed to believe she was 17, and she looked like this woman looked like she'd had the weight of the world on her shoulders.
Yeah.
And
It
I was
was,
like, "Oh, that's not the best
well,
casting."
funnily enough, um, the Playboy, the love interest,
Yeah.
Clarissa, wasn't meant to be the Playboy playmate.
Was she not?
No, it was supposed to be originally, oh, what's her name? What's her name? What's her name? Judy Aronson,
Right.
who you'll know because she was in Weird Science, Friday the 13th Final Chapter, and American Ninja. She was the one of the girlfriends in Weird Science, the
She
brunette.
I'm right in saying she had a row with Brian or something happened. He was
Well,
upset for a
that's the
little
piece
while.
of gossip I couldn't find anything about at all. She
Yeah,
filmed for 2 days,
yeah.
and then something happened between her and Brian Yuzna, and that was it. She was fired there and then, left it, and nothing's been met. I could not find one piece of information about it anywhere, and I looked high and low today. I've pretty much made it a mission today to find that information, and I could not find. I was gutted when I couldn't find it. She's never mentioned it. Brian Yuzna's never mentioned it. None of the cast have ever mentioned it.
That's got to be one hell of an NDA she signed.
But the lass that played Shauna was then going to take over her role,
Yeah.
and then she didn't get it either. They kept her as Shauna, and then they brought in
Clarissa girl.
they brought in the playmate.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense for the part in one way. The acting experience is negotiable and
Oh yeah,
negate.
she'd never been on film before.
No, but she didn't do bad for a first time part. I've got to give her that. I mean, when you're cast as the eye candy person, um, it makes sense that you've got to be comfortable in a movie that is a skin flick, really, when it
I'll
comes
tell you
down
what's
to it.
the thing that made me laugh the most about that is there's a sex scene in the film that she was really concerned about, nervous about, because she'd never videoed a sex scene. She'd been naked in photographs
Yeah,
till she heard that Bill Warlock was more nervous than she was, which
yeah.
relaxed her, and then she was fine.
Because there was a whole thing where he took Brian aside and he was like, "I don't want my bum on camera."
No, in fact, he refused a shot.
Yeah,
And he only got away with it because the scene itself was really late in the schedule. And so when he refused it, they couldn't sack him because he's like, I've already done most of it. It's like one of the last shots in the film. And he says, I've got an ugly butt.
yeah. You can't put my bum on camera. Yeah, nice. And
Which
he knew what he was doing.
he went under basically being nothing but swim shorts for like the rest of his career in Baywatch.
Yep. Yeah, it was. It was weird because he's with the lady with the children and the mortgage, but she isn't really. She's supposed to be a high school lady. And then she's like that annoying it girl, me, want. He can't get her what she wants, so then she throws a hissy fit. And then he sort of befriends the girl of the bad guys who has Frankenhooker for a mother. Can we just talk about her mother?
Her mother is amazing. I don't like. She's so right. Was she designed with Divine in mind?
It feels like she's the love child of Frankenhooker and Divine. I will give you that,
Mhm.
yes. Because and then she coughs up the hairball, and I'm like, where are we now? What is happening here?
I love the fact that that's never explained once.
No, and she's holding up the ponytail as well. Like it's
Yeah,
like
she's walking about with somebody's hair in her hand and coughing up fur balls, and no one bats an eyelid.
and the daughter just goes, "Go to bed, mum." And it's like, we're not gonna challenge why is she a product of something that went wrong during
Yeah,
something else? Or is this just where she's in life? I don't-
and it's. I mean, there's so many questions in this film.
yeah.
Like, why isn't Shauna part of the elite? Because she's driving around in quite a spectacular car. I mean, she's got a Pontiac Firebird.
I was gonna say it was very of the time, that car for all
I
the
mean,
rich kids.
that's a Smokey and the Bandit special, that.
Yeah. I think the only
So
thing missing was the big
for her to be driving around in a muscle car, I'm like, okay, for 17-year-old, that's a decent car.
maybe she's new money.
But then he's got that Jeep, which I wouldn't have thought was a really high spec car, but that's what Cher drives around in Clueless.
But he's not loved as much as the daughter, is he? So they probably just gave him something else, it's
Yeah.
just like, "Oh, that'll do for him." The daughter drives around in a Bentley and he gets the Jeep. Yeah, you feel like there's definitely a hierarchy in the family as well as in the social class system because you know that his mate that he plays basketball with, the family aren't that keen on him either, but they don't actually ever come out and say that Milo's a piece of shit and they don't want him in the house. They're very much, "Oh, well, you're playing basketball with that Milo," and that's all they sort of establish that it's clear that they think he's a less than.
Yeah, Milo's pretty much they definitely look down on Milo.
Yeah,
And I do like Milo. I think Milo's a good character.
but he's the constant. He's the grounding
Yeah.
character. He's the
I-
one that when he says it's bad, it's bad. You look to him for your kind of baseline because he's the only one who seems put together, normal in quotes. He's the one that is. I think he's us. Like
Yeah.
he's the guy that's sort of acting it out for us. He's the person that is going in with the eyes of like, "Oh, he's never seen anything like this, and this is happening to his friend, and
He's
the
the
only
Samwise Gamgee.
he's
Because
the
he's the one
real
that's brave at the end.
yeah, he's the real winner. That's what I'm gonna
He's the one that he puts everything on the line. He's the one that deals with Frankenhooker and Divine's baby.
I was gonna say he had a lovely time with her, didn't he? He told her off when she
Yeah. I
to him
mean,
and
I don't know
everything.
if I'd be happy with her sitting in a car behind us with her
No,
fascination with hair.
I mean,
I mean, I'd be all right, but I don't know if I want anybody else if I had hair.
I
I'm,
wouldn't be a fan of having it behind me for sure.
no, she's a funny one.
But I just it never I like the fact it wasn't explained because it's just stupid enough that you just go, "Okay." And you kind of accept it because everybody else is. So you go, "Yeah, okay, that's the mum." And like you say, it's the level of 80s makeup that with today's eyes you look at and go, "Why is she so dolled up?" But at the time, that was 80s makeup. So
Yeah.
really, at the time we would have all gone, "She's just dressed up for a night out." But with today's eyes, you're going, "Wow, she was in some serious like John Waters territory." We're
Yeah.
talking pink flamingos and hairspray.
She's very much a drag queen.
Mm. But I don't know. I think oddly, she's probably one of the standout characters for me for the very minuscule amount of time she's in it, the mum.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
just so weird. She doesn't even say a word. I think she just groans. Like
No, she doesn't speak. but I can't think of. I don't think there's many other characters that would stand out as iconic as she is in the film.
No, and she's the one that if you were to say to me, like, "Oh, Clarissa's mum," I'd be like, "Oh, yeah," straight away. If you said to
Yeah,
me Claudia or Shone, or I wouldn't remember which one of the girls that was, you know what I mean? It's like there's just something about when they throw a curveball in an already bizarre situation film
like
set
I
up.
mean, every time you see her, it's memorable for what she's not doing, which is being absolutely normal. She's just being mad, for want of a better word.
Because I
And it's
thought she
not
was a
even mad,
zombie.
it's not even eccentric, it's just weird.
I thought she was a zombie at first, and I thought that's where the movie was going, and I don't know whether that was the intent behind it or not, like, to make people think that the mum was a zombie and it was gonna be a zombie movie and that they were all, like, pod people or
And the father's never mentioned,
no,
ever. And I'll be honest, I need to see what the father looks like to have that as a daughter.
because that's clearly not a real mum.
Yeah. And if it is, that's the other thing. If that's not her real mum, where does she come from? Because she's blatantly not involved in anything that goes on at the end.
But I
'Cause-
think she might have been, but this time she didn't want to. Because that's the kind of impression I got, because they like, Ted and all those guys, they all had her in the fold, and she just didn't get undressed with everybody else.
yeah, that was a very strange moment because, well, there was only her and Ted that didn't.
Mm.
Because Ted was still wearing his tux and everyone else was getting down to the skinnies. But
It was an odd choice. I mean, all the way through this, you've got the psychiatrists kind of telling Billy he's losing the plot, he needs to pull himself together, it's not what it seems, he will make a good contribution to society if he just did this.
Mhm.
And then obviously he's having these weird dreams, he's having these delusions, and I think they're testing him with the delusions. I think they're actually really happening, but they're testing Billy's reaction to see
Yeah.
if they can bring him in or if he will be fair game, it's like,
I mean, he pretty much break his brain at one point when he gets the tape of the recorded conversation,
with
which is
Blanchard.
really unpleasant to listen to. Poor Blanchard.
I mean, yeah, I mean, there's a couple of occasions where there's that whole situation where you think you're hearing what Billy's hearing, but he's also under the care of a psychiatrist or a
So
therapist.
so he's a unreliable narrator.
Yeah, so you're like, who am I supposed to believe? Am I supposed to believe that Billy is actually really hearing this, or is he having delusions and he is not really hearing this? Because of the way that they set this up consistently to make him
Mm.
feel like he's going insane. And it's like, I don't understand the purpose of alienating a child for 17 years of his life to then take it to the, and for want of a better word, climax that it gets to, it's like I it was it a social experiment? That's the bit that my brain sort of feels like it was a society got bored and then they wanted to do something, so they made like a social experiment to see if they could because they were bored, so they just picked on Billy. I don't.
Yeah, because it did seem like for those 17 years he was raised up to be that his sister's first big coming out party,
Yeah.
which is up on since she's not even there for that.
Yeah, because they take her out of the room,
No,
again.
she goes out with her mum and her dad to have their
Yeah.
own party, for want of a better phrase.
Yeah, I mean, the yeah, so we got to the point where Billy thinks he's absolutely Didlow at this point. He don't know
Oh
whether
yeah,
he's coming or going. You've got Frank and Hooker Devine eating people's hair. You've got Milo telling her off. You've got um Playboy Bunny going to the thing because she is a functioning member of society. Even though I don't think she wants to be. She's just there because she has to be. Then
yeah. It does seem like she doesn't want to be a part of what she's a part of.
because she's fallen for Billy.
Yeah, but I think she fell for him before. See, that's the thing. There's that at the start of the film where Billy's doing the debate and she's sat in the front row.
Sharon Stone in it.
Yeah, and she literally just spreads right in front of him
Yeah.
with some black pants on. And it's just there right in front of him. And I'm like, okay, so she's blatantly trying to put him off. So she's working with Ted at this point.
Yeah.
And then at the party, she's not. 'Cause at
Yeah,
the
I can only think it's because in between that she goes on a, I wouldn't even know if you call it a date, but like they meet and she knows that he's pure of heart, for want of a better word. I don't really know what else you'd say, you know.
What is he though?
No, well,
He's-
in the respect of that he wasn't a functioning member of society. He was
Yeah,
something else, something
but there's
different.
also the fact that she knows who he's dating.
Yeah.
So she kind of entices him over.
Maybe that was her job all along, and then she just fell for him while she was doing it.
Yeah. I do feel sorry for Shauna
Yeah, I mean, the fact that
because she
she's
is
got
kind of forgotten halfway through the film.
well, this was a film of two halves, let's be honest. It's
Yeah, very much so.
the first half, which we're probably at the end of now, is very much establishing the odd kind of relationships between family members, friends. Is Billy does he suffer with mental health issues? Is this all real?
Because
Um,
yeah, because Blanchard gives him a tape that he hears, and it's got all of this weird language on
yeah,
about
really
coupling
bizarre.
and shunting and devouring and
It
all
sounds very
sorts.
sexual for a conversation that you're having with your daughter, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's both parents. It's not even just one parent; it's
no,
both of them.
yeah, and
And
it's
then he goes to the therapist who says, "I'll listen to it. Come back tomorrow." And when he comes back tomorrow, it's a different tape,
yeah, totally different.
which does make you think: is that what we heard?
Yeah. So you start getting on that weird conspiracy train with Billy at that point. You're like,
Yeah. But then he phones. I love the fact he knew Blanchard's number off by heart, mind.
you did back then, though. You did.
But that's his sister's boyfriend. Why on earth would he have any reason to know that phone number? And he literally just
I can
Blanchard.
guarantee.
I'm
I
like,
can
what?
guarantee there was a 5555 in there somewhere.
Do you know what I didn't notice? Oh, I'm going to have to go back and rewatch it now and find out. It was. Yeah, there might have been.
Yeah, there's always a 5555 or a 555 in there. It's just the Hollywood standard trope for phone numbers.
But then he says, "Oh, have you got a spare tape?" Why would he have a spare tape?
Oh, he made a copy.
But that's the other thing as well. He took it out of the actual recorder at the time to hand him it. So like, why have you got a spare tape?
Why is he carrying a briefcase for a dictaphone as well? I mean, I've got to be honest, he was very organized.
It was very organised. It made me laugh a lot. No, I was like, who carries around a briefcase like that?
And I'd like to know when they staged Blanchard's death, which they did, what was all those wires for? Was he literally in a mobile, like, sound recording van? Did he have, like, satellites on top, and was he, like, broadcasting to the
Do
world
you
in
know,
that thing?
it was when they said, "Oh, he was very techie," and I'm like, "What? He was an electrician?" Because there was a lot of electrician stuff in the back of that van.
It's a hell of a lot of wires just
I
floating
mean,
around.
maybe his dad was an electrician. That's how he was getting or he was into like audio video stuff. Chris, has you got a van it's filled with techie stuff? I thought he did. Yeah, he looks like the type. But he did have like a mystery machine full of like audio visual equipment.
It was very peculiar. So I was just like, "Okay, right, so that's yeah, he's dead," but then you also think, "But is he dead?" Because in the back of your head, you're going, "Well, we've just been proved that Billy could be imagining this at this,"
Yeah.
you know? And then when they go to the funeral and he sticks his finger through his face, through the
Oh,
beauty
why would
box,
you do that? What would possess anybody to prod his cheek?
I was just like, Okay, so they're going up to pay respects to somebody that they made very clear they didn't like, or it was
They
all
did
very
make
strange.
it. They did make it clear that they didn't like the lad. Like,
It was the way that Billy consistently kept trying to beat up Blanchard. You know, every
yeah,
opportunity he had, he was pushing him. And then it was like they walked straight up to him, and I can't remember if it was Billy or Milo. I think it was Milo. Literally just poked the beauty spot, and his entire face sort of started to cave in.
just
Then they,
caved in.
and then they went, "Oh, I bet there was a lot of reconstruction after the accident. That would account for that." And it's like,
But that's the thing. There would have been a lot of construction done by a good funeral home.
but it wouldn't have done that. Surely it wouldn't have like,
But I know they use. I, they, I know they use. They're supposed to use wax,
yeah, mortician's wax, isn't it?
mortician's wax, which doesn't crack.
Yeah,
It will bend. It will like it'll. You'll put a thumbprint in it.
yeah.
But that was the other thing as well. It was. I'm assuming. Well, it was a. There was a Jewish. It was a Jewish funeral, or maybe it wasn't. They just had a
Star of David on the wall.
Star of David on the wall. But it
Open
was
casket, and there was no real Jewish ceremony either.
no,
Like
there was none at all.
it was a very Christian ceremony for a Jewish church. I was like,
Yeah,
okay, we're gonna cross cover religions just so we can't
it
be.
did just. It did. I mean, I wonder if that was put up in somebody's house, and they thought, right, we'll just use that, and we'll just stick that up and some candles up, and that'll do.
Yeah, that looks like a bit like we can stick a few pews in here and a coffin. Yeah, it was very bizarre. But then really, if we're looking at it from, was Brian trying to be intelligent and tell us that's not him, and we're just not listening because we're just so fascinated with the fact that his face cracked, and we're going, why would you do that? We're looking over there again, and it's really
Yeah,
going over there, and then it just starts to get very strange from then on. Like the parents call him in and they're having a conversation with him about like how he shouldn't be going in, he's taking things a bit too far. Why is he talking to this person? Why is he hanging around with that person? And
it did seem a bit of an odd time to have that conversation.
yeah, very much.
And
Like,
then when he says like, "I can't wait till I turn 18 and I'm going to leave this house," and then throws a hissy fit and
yeah.
storms out,
And
which did make me laugh.
as with all these movies, they always have this thing where they can't leave till they're 18. They're not a grown up till they're 18. Even if they were out in America when they're 18, they still got 3 years till they're classed as an adult. So good
Mhm.
luck coming out going out at 18. It's it's a different world, especially the 80s. The 80s is a very strange place for anybody, let alone a lad who's accidentally stumbled upon what he was kind of born into or given to this kind of life that
Yeah,
he
I don't. I feel that he wouldn't have much life experience at 17,
no,
being brought up in that much of a wealthy. I mean, that family is not short of a few bob.
no.
They are very much rich, like mental rich. There is obviously a lot of money in that family.
Can I ask, were the slugs like aperitifs
I have no clue.
or aperitifs?
That
What are they called? Like vol au vent?
aperitifs,
Yeah, I don't know.
I have no clue
Because
why.
it looked like they were giving them out like vol au vents, and when they're standing next to the gardener and
Yeah, when
they've got all the
they can eat with
roses.
chopsticks.
Yeah, and they're picking them out and they're going, "Oh, they look very nice." And I'm like, and then you see them later being sort of handed out at the party, or I'm not really sure they were walking around with that plate again at the party. I was like,
Yeah, I don't know if they were eating them or it was like part of their biology. It
yeah,
just seemed very weird. But they did mention that was a great crop they'd had.
that
So
was it.
maybe they were using them as appetizers before the main. But they also ate properly as well because Billy would have been at the dinner that he decided not to go to.
Yeah. Unless the slugs are like the baby versions of them and then they grow up to be like the people, which sounds ridiculous, but you just have to kind of go with it in this world, like
Oh yeah.
because
I mean, for the law that they put down in this, that sounds sensible to be honest.
yeah, I mean, at this point we're at this big party, and I think it's her. coming of age, coming out party.
Well, don't they pronounce Billy as dead just before that?
Yeah, because they basically have him committed, kind of.
Yeah.
These heavies come in, they inject him with loads of stuff, and they tell him he's going absolutely insane. And then Milo follows,
He
sees
goes to the
him being
hospital
carried out. Yeah, and he follows him to
and
the hospital.
he's told by the nurse on the desk that he's dead.
Yeah, and how many seconds did that happen that they signed a death certificate and had him declared dead in, though? That's the
I
bit I
mean,
have.
there must have been minutes, if that.
Yeah, and he comes out off his tits because they had him on some sort of not life support, but they were drugging him in the cupboard from what I could see. And then he comes out, throws his bracelet away, and jumps magically into his Jeep, as Milo
Yeah,
said.
how did that get there?
That's exactly what Milo says. What is that doing there? How did you get there? Can't you see they're setting you up? And he's like, on a high from whatever it is that he was being pumped with. So
It did like seriously come from left field, that bit, because there was just all of a sudden he was there and his Jeep was there. I mean, I understand the Jeep had to be there for him to drive off and leave Milo there,
yeah, but
but it was like, did someone like bring his car there? And if so, why?
because he's dead.
Yeah, like for all intents purposes, he was taken there by ambulance.
Yeah.
Like, who's driven the car there and then got a taxi back? Because there's nobody there that's going to drop his car off.
And firstly, why would you just leave the keys in the car park and hope to God no one nicks it? I mean,
Especially a vehicle that literally doesn't have a roof and you can just climb into.
I mean, movie magic. You know, when I ever question these things, it's often just the answer is movie magic. But I often wonder with something like this if there was a scene somewhere in this kind of part that was taken out that had the exposition in that we needed. But like when the directors watch it back, they think, oh, this is too obvious, we'll take it out. And it's like, well, sometimes we need that obvious stuff because we're not living in your land, we're living in our own world. And to follow him going from, I can't wait till I move out to being declared dead to then going back home again, it's like,
Yeah.
eh? You flipped on that dime really, really quickly.
Didn't he drive like, because he drove back? Yeah, he was at the house when his car was left at the house. I was thinking, did he drive somewhere else? But no, he'd gone back to the house for some
Yeah,
reason, but
yeah.
never explained why he'd gone back to the house.
Because I think he was gonna tell them finally he was going, or he was gonna confront them about
Oh,
moving
didn't he
out.
spend the night in his Jeep with Clarissa?
Possibly. It got to the point where it was this bit where I just knew what was coming. So I kind of
Oh,
not
this,
was mentally preparing myself, but you know when you just get to that point where you're like, I'm sure that bit's next. So you sort of skip a little bit in your brain about that kind of.
yeah. Well, that exterior scene, that hospital's out of Halloween too.
Yes, yeah. I did read that, which I thought was pretty good.
I mean, there's so many bizarre Easter eggs. I'm wondering if they were designed to be Easter eggs or if it was just that happened to be being made at the same time or shortly afterwards, and they thought, oh, we can just use that.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if, to use a nicer sentence, a lot of them like to kind of pull resources. I was going to say something else to stop myself. They like to pull resources. So, say they had some footage of something like stock footage, and they were like, "Well, we're not going to use this, or we don't need it. Do you want it?"
Mhm.
And they all sort of, you know, on a small budget, it makes sense to pull stuff like that out. But then also, it could be just a location issue. It could have just been that's where they were filming, and it made sense that that was the nearest one, and it just was easy, you know. Um, or they just didn't have the budget for establishing shots at that point, so they just went to Halloween 2 and was like, "You got anything we can use?" And they were like, "Yeah, all right, here's this," you know. Or because Billy's dad is Dick, they were like, "Here, Dick, will you just ask John and some of the others if we can half inch some footage?" You know,
Yeah.
it's
Well, it wouldn't surprise us. But I mean, all of that's been lost to the ether by the look of it, because I say there's very little written about anything in the background of this one.
yeah, I think this is because of what this film is. and the
Yeah.
undertones it has, and how, like, I think taboo is the correct word for this whole thing, because technically incest isn't really a thing in this film. You're led to believe that's what you're going to get. You're led to believe you are going to be party to something that you shouldn't be. Well, technically you are in the end, but what I mean is, like, you're kind of being brainwashed into thinking it's a incest storyline.
Yeah,
I
very much so.
When it gets to the big coming out party and you start to realize, actually, I don't think it is. I don't even think they're necessarily related. Like,
No. Well, because it's not until Blanchard is pulled in from the ambulance,
yeah.
that's when it all starts really falling into place and going absolutely out there.
Yeah, because they
Yeah,
say, don't they, with Billy, they say, right, you're going to be our victim, but you need to watch what's going to happen to you. Which I think
yeah.
all the time you're like, yeah, all right, give him enough time to escape. Nice one. Let's pick on someone else first. And then this is when the original part of the script come in about the sacrifices and the what they were going to sort of do, but then they tweaked it to work with the narrative now of where they took it. And poor Blanchard. I mean, that was
Do you know
oh,
that was toned down? That entire scene with Blanchard,
mm,
he was acting that was supposedly so disturbing when he shunted that Brian Usner had to tone it down in post edit. He actually cut a lot of that, and I'm like, right, what did they cut out?
yeah. I
Because there's
mean,
a lot still left in.
the version I saw 2 days ago was the one on Amazon Prime or Shudder.
Yeah, there's one on
Shudder.
Shudder.
And I don't know if this was the one that everybody saw when it came out. I just know that that's the one I watched this time. But as we know, sometimes different countries get different releases or different versions of releases. So they cut some stuff out, put some stuff in. You have alternative endings and stuff like that. But I'm not sure if this is the one that I saw before or this is the one that everybody saw. But
It's the one I remembered from the 90s. So
yeah.
I'm assuming so because I remember the beauty mark scene
Oh, when yeah, when
when the judge gets
Judge.
it and
Yeah.
tries to see his own cheek.
Yeah,
And the thing is, he doesn't just do it once, and he's like, "Oh, beauty mark," and I'm like, "How do you know? There's no way on earth you're going to see round your face. Do you know what I mean? It's like you can't do it. You it's pulling that stupid face, and I'm like, "What are you doing?"
well, he was really obsessed with it on Blanchard, wasn't he? So I
No,
think maybe that's what his intent was all along, just to get that. But I mean, by the by, you're right. He couldn't see it, like where it was on his cheek. There's no way he could have seen it was there.
and but he was aware of it, which is the weirdest thing.
Mm.
Because how would you be? I mean, I've got a couple of like marks on us, but I'm not aware of any of them. Like, I
I
can't feel them.
Part of me thinks it's to do with the shunting. Like,
Yeah,
it changes their
they seem to have
physiology for a little bit, like, or it because
they seem to have full control over their cells in their body.
yeah. I
Are we
mean,
going to get into the shunting now?
yeah, I mean, really, there's no way around it, and that you
No.
can't not talk about it because it is basically the whole premise of the film.
The last half an hour is flesh, flesh beyond flesh.
It's when you see they declare, like, now's the time. It turns out that the psychologist is in on the whole.
Oh yeah,
We're
absolutely.
we're getting Billy to be a sacrifice. And so they're all in their tuxedos and evening dresses, and they're all in this what you think is going to be like a very rich evening of eating vol au vents and drinking champagne. That's where you think you're at. And then they make declare that everybody should get ready to shunt, so they all start taking off their clothes. Now they don't get butt naked. We're not talking Bob's and Virgin here. We're talking
Yeah, which is bizarre
lips
because
and
their
tight
clothes, some
whities.
of their clothes disappear,
Yeah, and
but
then
not
they're back
all
on.
of it. But then they seem to appear again later on. It's very PG-13 nakedness.
Yeah, and that's why this film, it doesn't make sense that they went to the extremes that they did
Yeah, I think if
when
it was made now, it would be I don't think they'd be able to make it now. I think it would instantly get an NC-17 or an unrated in America. I don't think they'd be able to make it.
But then I think that that would be a badge of honor now, whereas before there was so much pressure for directors to get bums on seats in cinemas
Hmm.
that an NC-17 wasn't a badge of honor. The only people who used to carry that kind of thing was like Ted and Sam Raimi, and you know, they were like, yes, NC-17, we've done it, we've made it, we've got an unrated movie, you know, or things like that, you know. But this one, I think because like we said before, there's no blood. It is, and I hate to say it, it is so much KY jelly. They
Oh,
used
it
buckets.
was like a P. Diddy party. I mean, there's
Johnson's
a
and
lot.
Johnson's sponsored this movie, shall we say?
Oh, absolutely. There is a lot of lube.
Oh, it's
It's like an
on
inch
another
thick in
level.
some places.
I mean, slip and slide. There's no way they were sticking to each other with that
No,
amount of
how
secretion.
any of them managed to stand up or even hit their marks is
Without
beyond
falling
me, because
over.
that must have been so slippery.
They start feeding on Blanchard, basically. They drag him into the middle. We all thought he was dead. We saw
Yeah.
his body and all that, and then the big reveal was he wasn't dead. It was not him all along. So they then start ripping off his clothes, and you think we're gonna go into the territory of, um
Cannibalism.
yeah, we think we're going into Day of the Dead, Night of the Living Dead, you know,
Yeah.
it looks like he's gonna be pulled apart, and that's where you think it's gonna go, you know. But then you realise they're actually kissing him and not eating him, and they're, like, licking him, and, like,
And
it's
they're
like
doing it to each other as well. It
yeah,
all starts to become very,
symbiotic, like
yeah,
one, like, they're acting as one kind of
they're very much intermingling as one giant amoeba.
entity, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and you start then to see that they're melding with Blanchard, and, like, their faces are stuck, like, their lips are stuck to his body, and then they're starting to move away, and they have these, like the prosthetics are, like, really long where their mouth this is where I mean cartoony, when you start looking at, like,
Do
you
you know
know
what it reminded me of? Hellraiser Part 2.
right,
The
that
twins that get
yeah,
the where the head joins and
yeah,
it's that's what it reminded me of. And I
yeah, I
can't
can see
which
that.
I think that came first.
I think Hellraiser 2 was after,
Was it
before this, I think,
yes,
actually. Yeah, because
around that time anyway.
yeah, I mean,
But yeah, it's very much of that sort of ilk.
it reminded me a bit of, you know, when you see those, like, birds that are feeding on pollen and they put their tongue out and it's like a tube and
Yes.
it had very much not like bird-like qualities, but it felt like I was aware that they were feeding on him, but they
It
weren't
did seem
eating
like they
him.
were almost bringing it back to the fly. They would digest them
Yeah, they were
in
like
his own body.
they were
So
soaking up his, like, nutrients and
yeah, because he was screaming as if it was causing him a lot of pain.
yeah, but he wasn't
But
visibly, like, melting, he was just sort of melding into they were all sort of becoming one, so they were technically absorbing him, but it was so slow. So this poor lad, I you know, it I
I
can't
mean,
even
that's
imagine.
that is a horrible fate for anybody.
Oh god, and then, may I add, everybody starts clapping the judge, and then the judge just, fists the poor lad,
Yep,
and for want of a better word, there's no other word for it. He literally, from what I could tell, gives him a full colonoscopy out of his mouth,
yep,
like
all the
and
way through.
that's the bit where I was like, "Whoa, okay, right." The all this other stuff, whilst it's absolutely freaking insane, that was a level of violence that came out of nowhere because it all seemed very romantic's not the word, but it very
Sensual.
yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah,
the word. And
and
then you
then
just get this one big act of violence where he literally fists him, sticks his hand out of his mouth, and then starts pulling his face back into his Blanchard's own body. And I'm like,
and that's brutal.
that was just unexpected. Like, because it was the way the judge was sort of climbing up Blanchard as well. And I thought he was just going to lay on top of him and like
Yeah,
become
bit
him.
like
Like,
Together.
yeah.
when they
Yeah,
become one.
I honestly thought that that's where they were gonna go with that, and then when you just saw him moving his arm around, I was like, "Well, oh, no, no, oh, that's"
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
not a pleasant moment, that.
no, and then they were all, like, cheering and like, "Oh, yeah, this is
I mean,
great."
at least he was lubed up.
Well, yeah, I mean, you don't wanna go in dry, do you? Jesus Christ.
No.
In his last moments, at least he was lubed up.
But, to go all the way through was,
I
yeah,
mean, I
look,
imagine he was like a bag of jelly inside at that point from them
see,
all.
that's what I thought, because and it does kind of fit in with the fact that these creatures can change the way their bodies are,
Yeah.
because his arm obviously stretched up through.
Yeah, it was very long, his arm.
Yeah. But then you also got that with when Billy ran away from the party, he got himself free and ran upstairs,
Yeah,
and he
and
was followed by the therapist, who then became a massive hand.
a weird duck bill kind of situation around his mouth.
Yeah, that was weird.
But
Almost
then
the Joker smile.
yeah, I mean, obviously, I feel like he'd possibly started to feed on Blanchard and then got pulled away because he kept running upstairs and knocking on the door because at this point, mum, dad, and sister had sneaked off to have their
Yeah,
own private party.
and that's when you see that, because he sneaks into the bedroom
Yeah,
and
and you
finds
see
his
that,
sister laid in bed with hands for feet.
and it turns out that the mum's at one end and the daughter's at
See,
the other.
I thought that, but they're very masculine hands.
They were the
So
dad's hands.
yeah, so when this is the thing I don't understand. Did they split up into two parts?
I think they must have just sort of melded into a puddle and then reappeared as like an amalgamation.
So it was his sister without any arms on top of a dad's shoulders and arms,
Yeah,
and his dad then put his legs out the bottom of the bed with his face in between the butt cheeks.
but were they her legs or his legs?
I don't know. I didn't notice if they were hairy or not. I don't know.
Yeah, you're so fixated on the fact that there is a face coming out of a butthole that you're like,
Yeah, and the thing is, it's even like that's the comedy element in it. It's coming out going "Boom." When it comes out. It's like what's going on here?
but
And then
I
he finds himself, oh, I guess I'm a proper butthead now, and I'm like, this is crazy.
yeah, I mean, it goes there, and you're like, well, you can't be highbrow in this moment when you're making farting noises and you've got a face coming out of someone's butthole. It's like,
Yeah,
I think we're past kind of highbrow storytelling and that sort of thing. But yeah, it's the bit in this whole, apart from the butthole face thing, is the way the mum comes up
yeah,
to stand in, like the way the daughter's in the crotch area with the big arm hands, but
yeah.
the mum's torso goes full exorcist, raises up, and then you see obviously the terrible prosthetic works that George did. Not to knock it because it works with everything else,
It's
but
very cartoony.
it was the mum mask that he made, and it didn't look like her at all because
No.
she was gone from being her with two pillows either side of her shoulders to make
Yeah,
it look like she didn't have any, and it was like, "Why have you got two pillows on your shoulders?" It's like,
yeah.
"I
That
see
was
what you did
weird.
there." Yeah, but
It
it
was
that was the bit that got me in all of this film, apart from the fisting situation, was the way that they'd animated the mum, and I say animated because obviously I don't really know how if she was on strings or how
no.
they did that
See, I
scene.
didn't even know if that was like animatronics.
Yeah, I don't know because again, you can't find out anything about the behind the scenes for this because I was
And
looking on YouTube for behind the scene videos, can't find anything.
yeah, and knowing like Brian Yuzna and Scream Mad George's work, like on Bride Reanimated, they did use animatronics.
Yeah.
It was something that was in their wheelhouse, so it might have been.
Yeah, it was just that bit where they were laying down and then she's sort of crawling out and then she stands up and then the way the mum just sort of comes up to stand it and then you see the creepy weird mum mask and then she
Yeah.
flips back to herself like being the actual mum. And I was like, "Oh no." No, that's not for me, that bit. It
It's
just made
very
me,
odd.
yeah, because I was like, I don't understand what's going on. And then you realise when they go back to the party scene and they've finished their feeding, shunting situation on Blanchard, so they all decide to go back to being themselves for a little bit before they feed on Billy. So,
Well, Billy then challenges Ted to a fight,
oh God, the licking.
which I found really odd that he accepted it. And I'm like, what? And if you are going to accept a fight that quickly, you're in. If your opponent is in trouble, just put that out there, because I'll be honest, with what Billy saw there capable of,
Yeah.
punching them's not going to do a lot.
No, I mean, the only explanation you get of what they are is when the judge says, because he keeps calling Billy starts calling them, or Blanchard starts calling them aliens. They keep and they keep referring to them as aliens, and the judge is like, "No, we were here before you."
Yeah, so it's like the origin's never explained.
No, so I'm guessing they're like, it's either a situation of like War of the Worlds where they fell to Earth and have been like underground for billions of years, and this is where they've evolved to, or they are part of like the not a cryptoid, but you know what I mean? Like they
Yeah,
are
being
uh,
like they were another offshoot of the human
evolution.
species, just
Yeah.
different down the generations.
Yeah. So they don't really specifically tell us what where, why. Part of me
No.
likes it as well though. You know, I like sometimes I think we don't need to know. It's nice to have that kind of level of
Oh, I'm all about not knowing for this one.
yeah, yeah. I don't think I want to do a deep dive, and I'm glad there
But
isn't that much information out there because
I'm all right with this one. I'm all right not knowing. I'm
yeah, I mean,
quite happy not knowing.
I don't want to knock on the brain door of Brian Usner and the writers of this movie because how they got here from Salvador Dali is
Well, there was
I
one particular painting that they used for um this the last scene, and it's called the Great Masturbator. But if you look at it, you can see where it's come from.
right,
It's the only way I can describe it. It's not vulgar. It's just like a blob with a woman's. I'm saying a woman's face. It might not be a woman's face, but it's like a blob of flesh with a face and like a background.
right,
It's not for its title. It's an odd. It's odd for what it looks like.
right. It yeah, I mean the thing is they have worked their way up into the upper echelons of society and called themselves society, hence the name of this, because that's why the tagline is "You are what they eat."
Yeah.
Have like from if you are of a lower class, then you're going to be fed to the rich, basically. So,
But the funny thing is, because Milo sneaks in, he,
mm,
he sneaks in with Clarissa's mum, which is class. When she takes out the policeman, I was done. I was killing myself with that bit. So he sneaks in dressed like a policeman, which makes no sense because they know him.
yeah,
But when his jacket opens, he's got an "Eat the Rich" T-shirt on,
yeah,
which is Brian Usner's
yeah.
from his university days, and I'm like, that's an odd T-shirt for this scene to have "Eat the Rich" on a T-shirt, where basically you have the rich eating the poor.
I don't know whether it was supposed to be stab at irony or it was just like,
It just was there.
yeah, I don't know, but this film doesn't really go anywhere after that. The judge jumps up and he's all like you say, he that I would like to say how uncomfortable that made me feel like when the judge was sort of they were all sort of coming out of the pit, the
Oh, and he comes out last.
and how he comes out last and he's all sort of like and it's the amount of looby jelly stuff they're flicking off themselves, which
Well,
leads me to believe
yeah,
there must
because
have been
when
like
he
a
gets
scene.
up, because they all want to see the fight,
Yeah.
which I found really strange. Because he even shouts the parents down, and his sister down to watch the fight.
I think it's that thing though, are fascinated by, because none of those would do something like that. Ted's only
They
doing it
want to be
because.
entertained.
Say that again?
They want to be entertained. It's like a dinner and
Yeah.
a show.
Yeah, basically, I think so. I think you're right. It is very gladiatorial, like, entertain me, peasant. That's what it feels like. It feels like they wanted a dinner and a drink and a show, and they were getting what they wanted, and the problem that these societal movies do have, no pun intended, is that they always think that the poor people in this situation are going to roll over and die, when actually they're the people with nothing to lose,
Yeah,
and the rich
exactly.
people are the ones with everything to lose. So it always.
It does always seem odd, but isn't that just the arrogance of having money?
Probably.
The fact that you think that, oh, they've got nothing to lose, so they're just going to give in.
Yeah,
You've
probably.
got nothing to live for.
Yeah, we've
But,
alienated Billy from all of his friends. We've alienated him from his life. We've killed him off in
but then Milo
seconds.
comes in to rescue him. Like his only friend,
Yeah.
his best friend, is there with a
Who
gun.
who openly admits he was part of the shenanigans at the beginning with
Yeah,
the blow
to
up
send
doll
him
and all
on.
that, because he thought it was funny.
Yeah, but see, that's to me, that's obviously his best mate, because I would do that to my best mate. I'd do that for grins, because that would be funny. That would be funny to me, but obviously he doesn't know that it's going on as well elsewhere. He's
Yeah,
just pushing it a little bit, and
yeah.
then everything else is going wrong.
But as soon as he realizes he's fucked up, he apologizes. He's like, "Oh man, I didn't, like, that's not wasn't my intention," sort of.
Yeah,
And he
and he
shows up when it
literally,
matters.
from that point on, Milo's there for him,
Yeah,
100%, willing to go into what. And the thing is, he goes in and he sees everything that happens, and he's still there to help him. He has plenty of chance to get out, and it's not until he tries to break into the people when he's knocked one side and knocked out.
yeah.
So I'm only assuming he would be next on the menu.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I thought, but it was him. Didn't they escape with the mum? Or was it
Oh, the mum fell on
the policeman?
Bill at one point, didn't he? Didn't she? In the shunting, because Ted knocked him out.
Yeah,
Ted beat him up, and then the mum just bowled in
yeah,
and flattened him, which
yeah. That's it.
which I'm like, okay, that's weird.
And
And
why was Ted the only one that had one of the really long tongues? No one else had a long
I
tongue.
don't know.
Was he some sort of random species situation? Because that's when the judge is all like, "I have a special place for you on in summer break that you could come work for me." And I'm
Oh
like,
yeah, he was going to take him to Washington, wasn't he? Which is odd, because the judge wouldn't be going to Washington. Surely the judge would just be the judge for the town.
well, you'd think, but obviously, I think this was supposed to be Beverly Hills, wasn't it? So,
So yeah, so that was odd. But then it
yeah,
was just, I did like the. I thought, I think it's one of the best comeuppances when Billy gets his own back on Ted, and you think it's going to go one way. He starts to kiss him,
yeah.
and then he lifts his fist back, and he goes in for the the fist and blow, and it's just blocked. And he like, yes, and then straight up,
It's
and then he literally pulls him inside out.
Yes, and it's the fact that they're full of maggots. What the hell was that? Why
Yeah,
was the wormy, maggoty situation occurring? I
I
was
don't
so
know.
confused.
I don't, unless that's the entire thing with the slugs.
Like they were kind of insect people, like running a biological suit of a human.
Yeah, it was very strange the way when they were pulled inside it, and they had no real organs.
No, they were
In
just
fact, no skeleton.
no. There was no bones. They were just worms and
Yeah,
maggots. Mm.
and that because it did seem a little bit easy to pull him inside out. But when he poked his eyes out, when he put his hands up from the inside, that was class.
I just Yeah, I mean, you're at that point, you're just well and truly in that kind of world of like, there's nothing else I can sort of, I can't suspend the disbelief anymore. It is what it is, and I'm just accepting it. You know what I mean? I'm in this now. I am committed.
You are neck deep, and
It,
you know
of this.
you know you can't get out.
It's it. Yeah. I mean, I think this film is one of the most disgusting films that has got no gore in it whatsoever. I mean,
I mean, the only two parts that have any blood is there's a pool of blood at the accident,
yeah.
and what do you call it? Its neck's being sliced.
Oh, when they make
Debate
up
blood
the
when
yeah,
they fool him into thinking it was he'd been killed.
yeah.
That they're the only two parts of the film that had any gore in whatsoever, and even then, it wasn't like a vast amount.
No, I think it was probably within regulations for the movie board rating, but yeah, so I mean, I think other than when the judge says at the end, "I'm gonna need a new intern," or something really grim, I'm like, was he talking about Billy? Was he planning on having Billy as an intern? I don't know.
No, it was Ted, because
Yeah, no.
Ted's done.
After Ted's done, he stands there and he goes, "I'm gonna need a new intern," and it was just like none of them were fucking bothered about Ted
No,
being turned inside out and him laying in pieces on the floor. It was just like, "Oh well, next." It's like,
and
"Okie
it was
doke."
all it's almost like nothing made any difference.
Yeah.
But did you also notice what happened to the mother? Clarissa's mum doesn't go with him at the end.
No, I mean, she could still be in the primordial ooze soup that was in the situation that
Yeah,
I
because
don't know.
Clarissa, Milo, and Billy all escape,
Yeah.
but and then they just drive off and then drive out. And I'm like, I can't remember it finishing like that at such a weird point of
It's very final. It's one of those strange endings that they used to do in the 80s. Like, it was either for the purpose of they didn't wanna give any inch for you to take a sequel from, because, I feel like Brian would have known that there was no sequel to be had from this,
there was
you
a
know?
sequel. There was going to be a sequel. I'm sure it was
Really?
2000. It was either 2003 or 2013. There was discussions of a sequel,
I
and it
think at that point, though, that would make sense, but I mean, at the time of making, I don't know if he would have intended a sequel because of not knowing how something this insane would go down,
I
maybe?
know it was never made,
Yeah.
but they definitely were talking about it, which is the weirdest part. It's like, where would you go with it? Like,
I mean, you couldn't follow Billy because there'd be no
no,
point.
I mean, no one's going to believe him,
Yeah.
but he's with Clarissa, who's part of that.
Is she a worm maggot lady now?
Yeah,
Is
because
she?
I mean, she is one, because you see when them two were having the dalliance, and
Yeah.
she's
Half
twisted the wrong
turned
way
around.
around.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got a lot of questions, but like I say, I don't want a sequel to answer any of them. I'm happy with not knowing a lot of things up
Yeah,
this film. Yeah, for sure.
I
Now,
don't. I don't think they would even attempt to remake it.
no,
I don't think it would be possible.
I think
There is.
there's some movies out there that, I mean, y I say it about most movies don't need a reboot or a remake or a rejig or whatever we're calling them these days. Just let them exist. Write your own version of it, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You don't need to word for word something. You don't need to carbon copy it. You don't need to put your stank on something that already works. Make
Um,
do your own thing. Take
yeah,
the premise by all means and do your version of society, but don't do this again because this
no. This is a film that's. And do you know what? It still stands today like it did back then.
yeah, there's been nothing like it. Nothing
No.
like this film. Absolutely nothing.
I mean, there's certain moments in the substance I thought was getting close towards the end of the substance where she fully transforms.
Yeah.
But even then, nothing like society. You don't have multiple people talking to each other while doing it.
Yeah, it's sort of becoming like they're like a big homunculus kind of teratoma situation going on. It's like
Yeah.
I I understand the premise of this movie is that society can only function whilst all the members are working as one, you know, um,
Hmm.
and that is probably the allegory to have from this film, or the moral to have from the film. Society functions because everybody has to contribute to society in one way or another. You're either the people being eaten, or you are the eater,
Yeah,
and that purely is just one of life's lessons. Full stop. You're either kill or be killed, eat or be eaten situation, which is a bit too real, I think, when you're looking at how ridiculous this film is
yeah,
to watch visually compared to what the actual story is, which is quite a heavy, serious kind of like
yeah. I mean,
poli- political statement, or I wouldn't say
very much
necessarily,
a very class-based political statement
yeah, which is
where
it's,
you've
it's
got
so
the
weird.
poor or the not the wealthy that are basically just there
Mm,
to feed, for want of a better term, the rich.
yeah,
And whatever they do, they get away with and never have any consequences for their actions. Whereas the poor can't do anything
yeah,
because whatever they do, they are basically either jailed, called mental, wiped out, presumed dead, and
yeah,
then fed to the rich.
yeah. Well, I mean, really, can't say much more than that about this film because unless you've seen it with your own eyes, it suspends disbelief. And some of the stuff we've been saying, you're probably going, "What are them two on?" Uh,
Yeah, it is. It is one of those films that has to be watched to be believed.
I'm on water, just so everybody should believe me. Water.
I'm on Coke Zero tonight.
Yeah, so that's all that there is. It's not a fever dream, even though it sounds like
Yeah,
one.
I know, and it did feel a bit like I was on some sort of acid trip. If I hadn't have seen it back in the 90s, if someone tried to explain it to me, I would be like, that doesn't exist. That's not real. There
No.
is no way that film exists.
And I feel like people should go and watch it because they need to experience this film. Not just because I'm a cinephile that just loves weird stuff as well. Like, this film is a part of what I feel like, when people have those 100 films you must watch before you die.
Yeah.
I would definitely put this in a list of 100 films you should definitely see in your lifetime.
Well,
Because
it was ranked 95 on the top 100 films of all time in Empire magazine.
wow.
So it made it in the top 100. And I'm like, in England, it was really popular and it stayed and it's still classed as a fairly good film. It's still classed as a classic in this country.
Well, I think the thing is we're more accepting as keep using the word society. We are accepting as a society. We are, as Brits, I suppose, we are more
I think
acclimatized,
we're all open for a
accustomed.
bleak ending.
Yeah, we're prepared for the worst. We think everything's going to end up at the worst. So this kind of movie with this kind of messaging isn't a surprise to us because we all believe that the rich are monsters anyway, and we always have
Mhm.
done. It's been ingrained as peasants into our DNA that, the rich are the rich and the poor are the poor. So we understand that concept quite well, I think.
I
Uh,
definitely think we have more of a history of classism in this
yeah.
country, and I think that film leans into that a
Yeah,
lot
so it was
more.
easier for us to just accept when it came out. Oh yeah. Whereas I think in a lot of other countries where they don't have necessarily the elitism or the classism, or all that sort of thing, for them it was probably quite a hell of a shock of a movie because it's such a alien concept that
I
anybody
was
would
going to say, with everything I've read, it was a big hit in Europe as well,
yeah.
which would absolutely fit into that because they're all well aware of the class system through the years, through the history, whereas America really doesn't have that,
Yeah, I
and
think because they're
kind of
relatively a
never
new
did.
country. In the grand scheme of things, they are relatively a new country.
Hmm.
And that's no shade to the Americans. They are. So they don't have thousands of years of history, and not only that, there's not the
Well,
level of ingrained classism.
isn't it the 250th anniversary this year?
Really? I know it was 1776 they signed the Declaration of Independence. I could
Oh
be
yeah,
wrong.
then it'll be 250 years of the Declaration of Independence from Britain.
1776, yeah.
So I mean, I know pubs that are older than
But
that.
it's true because we've been here for, when we were Doggerland, we were part of Europe, and, we've had it ingrained in our, like I say, in our DNA that
Yeah.
that's just the way it is, and we are pessimists by design. We, as a breed, as a country, we are just born to, like, our first words are, "Eh, is
And
what
we
it is."
always had the serfs and the peasants and the royalty and the barons and the so we went through all the Middle Ages where the rich were rich and the poor were peasants,
Yeah.
whereas America never had that.
No, so that's what we've seen. All of our history when we're taught at school is the similar thing, oh, that you had this, and you go to those experiences like with schools where you go to like the London Dungeon or something like that, and or whatever the equivalent is, and you'll go around and they'll be like, oh yeah, here's the drunk people in the gutter, and here are the ladies of the night, and then here's the really rich people in the nice house who have a bath every night, and these people have a bath once a week, and if they're lucky, and they're sleeping on a rope, so they
Yeah.
don't fall over, and so it's just in our psyche. So for us to just watch this film and go, yeah, get it, and that's why it's so well accepted, kind of makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense that why it was so popular everywhere else, but not in America.
So I do have a 666.
Um,
So
who are you starting with? This. I'm excited.
so I'm gonna preface this by saying it doesn't come out to Bob this time. So Billy Warlock, who played Billy Whitney, went on to star in Baywatch. He was in 45 episodes as Eddie Kramer. I can't mention Baywatch without mentioning the Hoff. He's big in Germany, don't you know? A made-for-TV movie that came out in 1998 had Hoff playing the ever-loved motherfucker that is Nick Fury, in Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. His co-star, Lisa Renner, now more famous for the Housewives franchise thingy, married Harry Hamlin. Harry is and will always be Perseus in Clash of the Titans to me, where Burgess Meredith, aka Mickey from Rocky, played Amon. Burgess starred in a 1994 movie called Camp Nowhere, playing a character called Fane, alongside Dennis Van Welker, played by Christopher Lloyd, who played Judge Doom in Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Jeff's kiss.
That
Ah,
was
awesome.
surprisingly easy to do. I was kind of, I don't know how that got there that quickly, but it did, but
But bring in Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
someone has to bring it up. It's an issue. It's a public issue that we need to
Oh,
address.
it's yes. I've watched it.
Yeah.
It's rough.
I wonder if Chris actually knew that the Hoff played Nick Fury in a made-for-TV movie. Now you do.
Oh, it's so bad. It's on a par with the Fantastic Four movie that was destroyed by the director because it was so bad. Actually, there was a rumor going around that when he made it, he spilled coffee on it, so it would never be seen. But it was seen, and it is available if you go to certain. I think it's on YouTube at some point.
That if someone would have put something out there, yeah. I mean, I've never watched an episode of The Housewives, but as soon as I went in and saw that Lisa Rinna was the co-star of The Hoff, I was like, Harry Hamlin, Burgess Meredith, Mickey. Oh my God, Mickey was in a movie with Christopher Lloyd. Oh, Judge Doom, I've got there. And it was just that easy, which is scary when it gets that easy because I feel like I've done something wrong. You know what I mean?
Nope, all of those were legit. They were all legit.
So I got a couple of 1 stars, which I'll quickly run through before we finish up. On Letterbox, this was left by someone called Nico Lowe on the 13th of September last year. 1 star. The inflatable doll gave the best performance in the entire cast.
I mean, that's harsh. That is very harsh.
I mean, but fair. I mean,
Yeah.
to sit there with a Barbie in its mouth for as long as it did before he actually worked out to pull it out. I mean, give that doll a raise or a puncture kit or whatever it needs. The second one was left in October of 2007 on Rotten Tomatoes, and it was given half a star. One word: disgusting. Teenage guy realizes his family is some alien whatevers that melt themselves together and switch places with their body parts. I don't know how to explain this movie. It's just bad. The acting was appalling, and it was just embarrassing to watch.
See, I disagree.
I completely disagree. I mean, the acting suits the tone of the movie.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like you're watching a panto kind of level of
I think
acting
it had.
because
Yeah. If it didn't have that level of absurdity with the acting, I don't think it would have worked.
no, no, this you needed that kind of level of almost fantasy to it because it's so far-fetched. It's not a sci-fi. It's not really a horror as horrors traditionally are. It's not
Yeah.
traditionally a sci-fi because they're not aliens or from space or
There's no
it,
scares.
there's no science-based kind of thing to explain what they are. It's just this film is just about people who exist or things that exist. And it's like if you're embarrassed to watch it, then you must be kind of prudish. I don't really the embarrassment wasn't something I got from it. Let's put
No.
it that way. That wasn't an emotion that kind of smacked me in the face when watching this,
I mean,
but
there wasn't. There's only. There's, there's not even that much nudity in it.
no, you don't see like I say, you don't see the Bobs and Virginia in this. There is no
You
Mr.
do get a
Tackle and
glimpse
his
of the
mates.
playmate when she comes downstairs and they
Yeah.
start getting on the couch.
You get a bit of side boob and a bit of
You get a
bum.
bit of side boob, and you do see his sisters through the frosted glass,
Yeah, on her back.
which don't look like the real. That looks like a blow up doll.
Yes.
Because you cannot tell me that that's the lass that you see in that dress, because they look nothing alike.
That was definitely some sort of contorted yeah, there was something odd going on there for sure.
Yeah, but
But
yeah,
yeah, I I wouldn't have said appalling and embarrassing, that's for sure.
no, it's unique. I'll say I've never seen anything like it ever, and I've watched a lot of horror and a
Yeah.
lot of weird films, but I think that's on a par with things like Tetsuo the Iron Man in its
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna go into, it's Takeshi Miike, isn't it?
Tetsuo the Iron Man isn't Takeshi Miike did Itchy the Killer.
Oh, that's it, yep, sorry, my bad, I always get those 2 mixed up even though they're nothing like each other. The Iron Man one is where the guy just turns he's
He,
like he kind
yeah,
of
he's a metal fetishist.
yeah, and it just he soaks more and more and more into his body until he becomes the metal,
Yeah,
basically. Yeah, yeah. It's been a while. It's black and white, isn't it, as well?
yeah. Do you know there's a trilogy?
No, I didn't, no.
Yeah, there's actually three of them. The third one's really hard to find. It's Tetsuo the Body Man, Tetsuo 2, the Body Hammer, and Tetsuo 3. And I don't know what the third one's. It's got a thing afterward. Sure, it's like the machine gun or the Uzi, but it's very. The second one's like a sepia tones. The
Right.
first one's in black and white. The second one's sepia. I don't know what the third one is. The Bullet Man, yes, there you go. But yeah,
I
it is very weird.
yeah. I've seen a lot of excerpts from it, but I've never watched it. Like, oh, when we have watched all the Into the Darkness documentaries, they're always bringing up that
The
movie and talking about it, how it set a tone for a new wave of like kind of body horror, but it wasn't at the same time. Like,
No, it was extreme. Well, it was extreme Japan cinema. It was classed as.
so J horror. It is
Yeah,
J horror, yeah.
but it does. It's Absolutely. I mean, I've got the first two on DVD. I had them both on video when they first came out. I got them on DVD, and I've never managed to get the third one. I've tried,
Yeah.
but the prices have gone silly. I know a few places that I've got me feelers in, but it's going to be expensive when I buy it.
Yeah.
But I will have it. Oh yes,
Oh,
it
yes.
will be mine.
I was going to say, oh, yes, you will be mine.
Oh yes.
So, Mike, where can people find you and all of your wealth of horror knowledge?
Well, I'm in the Geek Asylum. Pretty much, I'm one of the admins of the Geek Asylum. Just there, no, there, that one, just here. Yeah. Or the Horror Asylum. Two of the friendliest groups on Facebook. We like to keep things very nice, very happy. Horror Asylum is my little baby. I put reviews up every day, and I'm late putting mine up today. Actually, I'll be getting to that shortly. With a film that I didn't particularly like. So there you go. But it'll be going up on tonight. Then I'll be doing others coming up. I might have one that I've been sitting on for quite a while that one of my friends made.
Are you
uh,
doing
that I'm
Go to Hell?
reviewing. Yeah, it's from somebody who I know called Ricky Gunter, who's done a
Right.
found footage film, who cosplays as Art the Clown.
Is he the guy that's always at the shows? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I know who you mean.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, he's done a found footage film with his friends, and it might be getting picked up by a streaming site, but I don't know which one yet. So I'm waiting for information off him, and when it's been picked up and when it goes on, I can then put my review out. But I have seen it, and it was better than I was expecting.
Nice. High praise from Mike, who watches millions of movies per
But
week.
I'm a sucker for a found footage film.
So would you say found footage are probably one of your top
It's one of them.
two? Brilliant.
It's definitely up there. I do like the bare bones indie style found footage. The fact that you can do it with next to no money, and it's guerrilla
Yeah.
filmmaking.
Yeah.
Well, I think if you can do it well, they are brilliant. Some of my favourite films are found footage. So
Where can people see you next? You
oh,
guys.
where am I at next? Probably For the Love of Horror. It'll be the next big one that I'm going to
April.
in April. I was at Capital last weekend or the weekend before,
Mhm.
but I wasn't cosplaying there. I was just running the table. But I will be cosplaying at For the Love of Horror. I'll be no doubt come to see you at your table and pushing all your products like I normally do.
Does Mike vlogs my
Look at
wares
this.
for me?
Look at this.
Yeah, look at that wonderful t-shirt. This wasn't set
Oh,
up.
and it's gorgeous.
I didn't know he was going to wear it, so it wasn't set up. I just want to make that very
Nope.
clear.
That was done. That was my choice to wear that today.
He wasn't paid. There is no sponsorship in this video.
Nope.
Right.
Didn't.
So I'd like to say a big thank you to Chris, Mr. Silent Chris in the background, our AVT.
Got me the ledge.
For the last 5 weeks, he has been my left arm, right arm, because I couldn't do any of this stuff. So thank you very much to Chris, because fingers crossed, all going well, next week normal service will resume. That yes, Miss Sammy is back, and we will be doing Whatever Happened to Baby Jane.
Great choice.
We are going to kick it back off with something so far from society. We wanted to go with something a bit different, a bit, I would say easy, but it's not. It's totally different line of thinking. And yes, it is a horror in its own
Oh,
way.
absolutely.
I would say it's a psychological horror for sure, but it's
Also got so much gossip behind the scenes.
yeah, and all the rivalry, and there's a lot to be talked about as well, not just the film. So I'm kind of looking forward to that for a change of pace of being able to um really hunker down into that side of things. But yep, you're gonna get the normal blurb back. You know, you're gonna get your warning at the beginning, and you're gonna get your stay spooky everyone when you leave, so you can all feel like home again. You know, you've had a 5-week vacation. You know, with my nonsense and my bullshittery. And thank you for putting up with that, everybody. I do appreciate it. I do appreciate your patience. But yeah, if you want to watch us on YouTube, if you head over to the Nerdy Up North YouTube channel and find us under Monsters Up North podcast on there. We are a sub channel on there. You can find us there. If you want to watch us on TV, see our big faces on your 70-inch, 50-inch. I wouldn't advise it. If you want to listen to our dulcet tones, by all means, head over to anywhere your ears soak up information. We're on Audible, we're on iTunes, we're on whatever that's called these days, Spotify. Head over there, find us under Monsters Up North podcast. Put podcast at the end, otherwise you get a very nice band. That's not me or Sammy or anybody here else that is knocking around. At which, if you could leave like a little heart or start commenting under some of the videos or the audio episodes, just to let us know if there's something you liked in the episode or something you want us to change, or there's a fact that we forgot to mention, which would keep Mike very busy, because Mike does like to inform us when we've missed things, which I am grateful sometimes, because I do have them written down and I just skim past them when we're going on a tangent somewhere.
I love tangents.
Love me tangents. So yes, I'd like to say thank you very much to everybody again for bearing with us. Thank you to Chris. Thank you to Mike for helping out. I'm doing it this way. Thanks to Mike for helping out for this one. Thank you to Sam Munster. Thank you to Kim from Distant Screams. Thank you to, again, Chris. We did have the special clip episode that Chris curated with the mega monsters we meet, and they're all available as well, all the episodes. So thank you to Paul for putting those up for me. So yeah, like I say, normal service shall be resumed as from next week. So I'd just like to say goodbye, everyone. Laters.